but this is good practice to be aware of an audience in front of you while being cognizant of what's happening in your mind. It's like multitasking. You have an audience and you have to look at them, and it's distracting to look at an audience. And then at the same time, you have to be very clear in what you're saying in your head. Everything has to make sense. So it is double multitasking. You're doing two things at once, paying attention to what's before you and what's inside of you. And I am totally not used to doing that. So this is all very good practice. Practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect for being yourself. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm way past trying to be perfect. Being perfect never got me anywhere. I spent the first half of my life doing that. And there was no benefit to acting perfect. None. What's so good about acting perfect? Nobody's perfect. Why try to act perfect? Just act yourself. What's meaningful? Act yourself. Be yourself. I wasn't very satisfied with the video that I shot yesterday. I feel like I didn't really get the point across that I wanted to make. Everything was kind of jumbled in my head. But that's how my head usually is. I don't usually have all my thoughts well-formed. It's not everything is a well-formed story. Like when you're writing. When you're writing, you can go back and edit, and you can, at least for me, I organize my thoughts really well when I'm writing. But speaking, I almost feel like it uses a whole different part of your brain, and I'm not used to using that part of my brain. I'm not used to organizing my thoughts on the fly because all of this is improvised. I don't ever think about what I'm gonna say before I say it. I just have a topic in mind, and I'm like, I feel a little bit more drawn to talking about this topic today, but I don't actually think out anything I'm going to say about the topic. So everything is just very free-flowing. Whatever arises, then I speak it. Now, yesterday's video, I wasn't completely happy with the turnout. It wasn't perfect, like I suspected it would turn out to be. But I didn't want to go back and re-record it because I feel like that's inauthentic. And I just wanted to present what's really in my brain, how it's not always organized, and I'm just trying to form thoughts, trying to speak what I feel, and that's okay. It's okay to just show the organic process of how your brain works. As I said repeatedly, all I'm aiming for is authenticity, being myself. So I'll put out bad videos as long as they're realistic. And yesterday was pretty realistic, so I was fine with it. Today, I would like to talk about facial dysmorphia. I've been getting a magazine in the mail. So this is like the 4th issue that I've gotten in the mail. I don't know why it's coming to our house. I never ordered that. This is the first time anything like that has ever happened. And the interesting thing is there's a lot of articles in each month's magazine that I can completely relate to. It's as if someone picked it out for me, and here I am reading it, relating to so many things. Very interesting. Now, this month there was one article that was talking about facial dysmorphia. Now, right when I saw that phrase, facial dysmorphia, I knew that I had that. It was an intuition, instinct. I read those words and I didn't even know exactly what that was. Maybe I did at one point, and so now when I saw it again, I just felt that yes, I have facial dysmorphia. I've had it growing up. And I highly suspect that my mom had that as well, because of the upbringing that she had that I mentioned in several videos back. So what that is I wrote down the definition. Facial dysmorphia is a mental health condition where the sufferer has a warped perception of the appearance of their face. This commonly includes distorted views on how their nose, skin, and teeth look. I read about it some more on my phone the other day, and when you have facial dysmorphia, you tend to fixate on your appearance, and especially on certain parts of your face. You become obsessed. And you feel completely, horrifically ugly that you don't want to face anybody. And you tend to just zoom in on a certain part of your face or your features that you think needs fixing and is really ugly. So for my mom, that feature was probably her freckles, because everybody would always comment on her freckles. She couldn't escape that. And so that became kind of the focus of her life. She would always focus on her freckles. She was always self-conscious about her freckles, always aware of them, and would do everything she could to get rid of them. I remember one time we went to Taiwan, and during that time, I think facial peels were all the rage. And she took me and my sister to the clinic. She got like a facial peel done to remove a layer of her skin in attempts to remove spots. And I did it as well. I think I was like 13 or so, and she was like, oh, is there anything you would like to remove on your face? And I got some moles removed because I had like one on my nose, one on my upper lip, one on my lip, and then one down here. It was like a straight line. It looked funny. I was like, oh, why not? Since we're here. But so that was my mom's obsession, her freckles. Now for me, let's see, I remember starting from like 6th grade or so, I was obsessed with my eyes being puffy, especially in the morning. I had puffy eyes. And I would just fixate on my eyes and be so angry that they would be so puffy. In my mind, I felt like I looked like a frog with my eyes just bulging out. Or I thought they were like golf balls. That's just how I saw my puffy eyes, and I hated them. I would look up anything and everything to try to cure my puffy eyes. And I did some of the most ridiculous things trying to get rid of them, as I'm about to share with you soon. But before I do that, I have a memory of when I was 11 or so, and every morning before I go to school, I remember I would stare at myself in the mirror and see my dang puffy eyes. And I wouldn't stop there. I would take a mirror and go outside in the cold, gloomy, not yet fully lit sky. I would go outside and I would look at myself with this little mirror outside, because then I could really see my puffy eyes well. It's like the lighting was so perfect to see every flaw on my face. And I don't know why I would do that. It's like I wanted to see how bad they could get. So I would go outside in the garden and stare at my face and just feel so ugly. Like, whoa, look at your eyes. Your eyes are so poofy, and this is what everyone is gonna see when you're outside. That's what I would do at 11 years old. I was obsessed. So one of the things I would do to try to cure my puffy eyes is I would wake up hours before school started so that the eyes could kind of lessen their swelling and lessen their poofiness. Because as the day goes on, I notice that the poofiness subsides the longer that I'm awake. So I would purposely wake up really, really super early. It's already early enough to wake up for school, but I would wake up hours in advance just to prepare my eyes to be seen at school. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm revealing this. I've actually forgotten about a lot of this until right now when I'm actually thinking about it and going back to that time. Another thing I would do, I read this somewhere, I don't remember where, we didn't have the internet back then, it might have been from a magazine or whatnot, but I would cut cucumber slices and I would lay them over my eyes so that they would reduce the swelling. And I would do that for like 30 minutes or so. The third thing I would do sometimes, this one was really a torture. Oh wow. So I would get a pot of water and I would put it in the fridge, say the night before. And then in the morning, I would take out that tub, go to the bathroom, and splash my eyes with this freaking ice cold water. because I also read that that would reduce swelling. The fourth thing, and this one's probably the most embarrassing. So, yeah, this will just shed light on how obsessed I was about my eyes and how much they tormented me. So, the fourth thing that I read that would help my puffy eyes is to get hemorrhoid cream and to apply it to your eyes, around your eyes, and that way it would also reduce their puffy look. Now, I didn't have hemorrhoid cream, so I asked my sister, who at the time could drive. She's 5 years older than me, so I asked her, can you please go to the market and buy me hemorrhoid cream? So she's a nice sister, so she agreed. And she went to the market and she got me a tube of hemorrhoid cream. And just her luck, when she was going to go pay for it, she ran into our lovely, sweet neighbor. She was like, oh, hey, how's it going? And Susan, my sister, she just put down the hemorrhoid cream on the conveyor belt, and that was the only thing she was buying. So she was mortified that she had run into our neighbor and that was the only thing she was buying. She was so embarrassed. But she did that for me. She took one for the team. That was for my puffy eyes. Now that just goes to show you what lengths I went to try to look normal, because again, I felt like I looked like a frog and everybody else looked like a normal person. I was the only one that looked like a frog. So that's what I felt I needed to do to get rid of them. And that was only middle school. And I already suffered so much from facial dysmorphia. Now, from that time until now, I've been fixating on different parts of my face. It's not necessarily just my eyes. There's other times when I'll fixate on, like when I was in Taiwan teaching at a boarding school, I broke out and I had so many pimples on my face. It was so embarrassing. So I would fixate on my face, like my skin, because I was so embarrassed of all the blemishes. It would always change. If it wasn't my eyes, it was my skin, it was my cheeks, or it was something. It was always something that I would fixate on. And it's just interesting that for the first time I finally realized what that is, what I suffered from and what my mom suffered from. Because once you realize what it is and you diagnose yourself, then you can finally begin to get treatment, or it's easier to combat it. And at the same time, if you research into it, people may have some ways to overcome it. And I already feel like I'm on the road to overcoming it, because I'm pushing myself to show my face and to realize that that's just a part of life. I mean, now, as I talked about aging, that's a part of life. That's a part of an appearance that I don't like, but it's normal. Everyone has something they don't like, and it's not really a big deal to fixate on. It's just your appearance. It's just a bag of bones. What really matters to me right now is my spirit, or my growth, my personality, what I'm going through. The appearance is slowly becoming secondary.